A decision was made here. You weren't going to watch that anyway, but Ghostbusters 2, on the other hand, that's a good decision. It's Saturday, I'm Akorn. Welcome back to Gen X and Millennial Memes, because the 80s was clearly the last good decade. Hit that like and subscribe, and let's get into today's show, starting with this week's Pop Quiz. In 1985, what company released the first camcorder that combined the camera and recorder into one unit, making home video recording far more portable? If you think you know, drop your answers down in the comments, and stay tuned because we'll give the answer later on in the show. 1980. In 2026, we'll have flying cars. 2026. Do not eat this wrapper. Yeah, back then we didn't know that common sense was about to go extinct. Dear kids, this is what your grandmas looked like in the 80s. Raise your hand if you were born before the internet era. I think that's the vast majority of my audience here on the channel, although we do have a good number of late millennials and even a few Gen Z. There are a number of Gen Z today that are rejecting all the garbage that's been shoved down their throats by the schools and so-called society, and it's good to see, too. Welcome to the Gen X playground. In case of injury, stop crying, blow on it, walk it off, you're fine, and nobody really cares. 1980s TV dinner. It was still a lot better than the microwave meals I got today. This was seen at the Pennsylvania Auto Show in Philadelphia. That's actually a pretty nice car. I wouldn't mind having one. Maybe I wouldn't have to work on it as much as I do my truck. I can find Waldo faster than I can find the bread bag twist tie I just set on the counter. Ain't that the truth, too? The official field trip Yeti in the 80s and 90s. Here's a sad PSA, guys. Rest in peace, Minute Maid frozen canned juice, 1946 to 2026. That's right, guys. Coca-Cola is doing away with the Minute Maid frozen juices. Not just the orange, but all of them. If you would still like to get some, check your stores when you go, because from what I read, they're doing away with it completely come this April. The original memory card matching game. A game of visual recall containing 72 cards. No reading required to play. You'd think this would be a pretty popular game again, actually, especially with how poor kids' literacy scores are today. Keith Richards outliving Richard Simmons has me questioning this whole exercise and healthy eating thing. No way you know what this is unless you're rocking some serious vintage memories. I know some of you guys know exactly what this is. If you know, drop it in the comments, and maybe we'll just have to take a trip this weekend. How many of you guys remember some of the handheld games like this one here? Gimbal Lock sent this in. He said he picked this up about 1990 for 20 bucks, which back then was kind of high for these handheld games. I don't remember this particular one, but I do remember a driving game that was very similar to this. I swear my body just randomly adds pain like it's an app update. I hadn't thought about it that way, but kinda seems like that sometimes. You can taste this through your TV. At least most of you guys watch on TV. If you're not watching on a TV, drop it down in the comments what kind of device you're using. It's 2026, and these are still my top 2 performances at a halftime show. I didn't even bother watching the Super Bowl this year, let alone the stupid halftime that I heard about. Penny Pushed. Last days for shoppers to enjoy JCPenney's store after a 123-year-old department store chain confirms permanent closure. When I first saw this, I actually thought that they meant all JCPenney's. But now that I'm reading this again, I think they were just talking about a particular store. Although, there's not very many left anyway. The Nokia 3310 released in 2000 and was capable of up to 55 hours of talk time and up to 10 days of standby time off of a single charge. Yeah, and they keep telling us that technology is advancing. That was back on a past show that I had a news article where a guy found his Nokia 3310 after nearly 20 years, and he tried to turn it on, and it did come on. And it still had a half a battery. Here I'm good if this so-called smartphone even makes it through the whole day. When I was a kid, this was Google. Yeah, but to get the Britannica brand, you probably went to the library. Who remembers hearing the words, "Attention Kmart shoppers, a blue light special is now happening in school clothes"? At least that seems to be where it usually was, wasn't it? A lot of times. I was out riding my BMX bike, minding my own business. Then all of a sudden, 1980 was 46 years ago. If you remember him, your childhood was awesome. If I ran NASA, it would be mandatory for the ground crew to be dressed as apes when the space shuttle lands. Might as well, at least we get some memes out of it. Today's pop quiz question was, in 1985, what company released the first camcorder that combined the camera and recorder into one unit, making home video recording far more portable? The answer is Sony, with the Beta Movie camcorder. Don't worry, buddy. This won't be the last time a girl breaks your heart. How many of you guys remember Aquafresh? Do they even still make this stuff anymore? I always tried to get that wave on my toothbrush, but it never looked the same. Would you hurry up and grab that 10mm wrench? 8-year-old me. Panic intensifying. Better hold that flashlight right, too. One of my favorite adult games. Did I take ibuprofen 30 minutes ago? Or did I just think about taking ibuprofen 30 minutes ago? Yeah, I hate that game. Even more so when it comes to my regular meds I have to take. Gen Z, we're offended. Gen X. What do you miss the most? I guess I'd have to say the mall, because inside the mall, there was almost always at least one arcade, along with Radio Shack and a whole lot else. Pizza Hut's drinking glasses from the 80s. Very iconic. I actually wish I had a set of these. Speaking of Pizza Hut closing 250 U.S. stores as parent company considers selling the brand. Well, it's been a very long time since they actually had good pizza, at least in my opinion. Too bad somebody doesn't buy them out and take it back to what they used to be in the 80s. They'd probably pack the restaurants out. Lies my mother told me. It's illegal to drive with the overhead light on. There's actually a lot of people still believe that. If you swallow your gum, it will stay in your stomach for 7 years. Keep making that face and it'll freeze like that. I have eyes in the back of my head. You can't swim for 30 minutes after eating. Don't sit so close to the TV. You'll go blind. I don't have a favorite child. I'm just running into the store for one thing. A watermelon will grow in your stomach if you swallow the seeds. Maybe. I'll think about it. What's some other ones that you guys would add to this list? Some of us have lived through vinyl, 8-track, cassette, CD, Napster, and Spotify. And some of us are still hiding from Columbia House. Yeah, we should have known that was just a toupee. Now that I see him this way, Hulk Hogan should have played He-Man. My friend, you can't recognize someone just by their foot. Me. Yep, sure do. I can't play it though, because I'd get hit for copyright. The Dukes of Hazzard aired its final episode today in 1985. The popular show debuted in January 26th of 1979 and aired for a total of 7 seasons with 147 episodes. Couple weeks late on this one. 20s. Slept 3 hours, chugged a Jolt Cola, ran a 10K. 40s. Slept 8 hours, still tired, so drank coffee, which spiked cortisol. Gained 3 pounds of bloat, and pinched a nerve while sneezing. Some days, it sure seems that way. Anyone still shut off the lights when leaving a room because their parents used to say, "Don't waste electricity"? Yes, I certainly do. Especially with as high as my electric bill is these days. Just about 3 weeks behind on this one. Matchbox Ferrari F40. Target, 99 cents. I had forgot all about it until I saw this photo. I can't remember how old I was, but I do remember buying a model car, and it was a Ferrari F40. People talk about Gordon Ramsay and Bobby Flay, but to me, this is the finest TV chef of all time. Yeah, and certainly a whole lot better than Gordon Ramsay. If Gen X was an emotional support animal, a honey badger? Yeah, I can agree with that. Memories of my dad. Yeah, my dad used to have this exact set. I have it now, and it still works just as good as the day he got it. Back in the day, we earned the rips and holes in our jeans. They didn't come ready-made. How about the ones now that come pre-made with grass stains on them? If you didn't gulp lukewarm mystery temp water from this water fountain while dodging a nose or eye splash and the faint scent of metal, did you even go to school in the 80s? Sometimes you look at people and wonder, how do they fit all that stupid into one head? That is true. Do Transformers have car insurance or life insurance? That's actually a very good question. Police are still looking for the smartass who painted a tunnel under this bridge. I thought this was pretty funny. And this is actually real, guys. Somebody actually did this, and this car tried to drive into it. You have to admit, though, he's a pretty good artist, whoever it was. Want to feel old? I'm not going to read these, but yeah, this'll do it. Wendy's hasn't been the same since we lost Dave Thomas. Speaking of Wendy's, I just recently read that they're getting ready to close hundreds of stores. That actually surprised me. A lot of other restaurants, sure, but Wendy's? I thought they would take a while longer. An illiterate quarry worker in 10,000 BC was able to afford this house and a car with a stay-at-home wife and a daughter. This is what was taken from you. Yeah, used to be able to do that in the 70s and 80s too. The guy behind me tailgating to make me drive faster. Me slowing down because someone is tailgating. 100% fact check true. If somebody starts tailgating me, I absolutely will slow down. Always give 100% at work. Yeah, I'm good to give that much some weeks. Survivors of a slasher movie sitting on the bumper of an ambulance at the end. Who remembers when we thought this was a good idea? Yeah, I don't know why anyone thought that was a good idea, but I absolutely do remember it. What childhood looked like before cell phones and tablets. Be honest, were you a CD visor person, risking it all overhead, or did you keep the CD book on the seat like a low-budget road trip DJ? I actually had both at one time. I'd usually put the albums overhead that I might actually switch to while I'm driving. I usually waited until I was stopped before I actually went through the binder. How the Easy Bake Oven, an appliance that allowed kids to heat treats with a light bulb, revolutionized the toy industry. The product, launched in 1963, became a staple in American households. Every guy on Love Connection looked like he sold carpet during the day and played saxophone in a dive bar at night. These hairstyles required patience, confidence, and half a can of Aquanet. I think some of those might have required 2 cans. When you hit a pothole and the check engine light goes away and the radio starts working again. Hey, at least it saved you some money in some way, long as you don't blow a tire or break a ball joint or something. How many of you had one of these growing up? I honestly don't even remember seeing these, let alone have one. You might be cool, but you will never be Vanilla Ice wearing jorts with his own face airbrushed on them. Cool. Speaking of Vanilla Ice, he's been making some news lately. Vanilla Ice's Ice Ice Baby climbs back up the charts, but not only for musical reasons. I wanted to put the little short news clip in here, however, because they played some of that song very briefly and in the background, if I put it in a video, I would automatically get hit with copyright. And I already have 1 copyright strike on the channel right now, so I can't risk any more. But basically what he said was that people making memes about the cold weather and the Winter Olympics has pushed Ice Ice Baby back to #1 on the Billboard 36 years after its release. Now, of course, there's more memes about another kind of ice that probably helped this along more than anything. Today's world got me like, Pennywise, are you down there, bro? When this bad boy built up speed, you either held on tight for dear life or were flung off at high velocity, resulting in scrapes and bruises. Those were the days. I remember some kids getting a lot more than just scrapes and bruises though, especially when somebody showed up with a dirt bike and they stuck the rear wheel up against it and hit the gas. I've walked like an Egyptian, moonwalked, walked this way, walked on the wild side, walked on sunshine, walked all over you, walked the line. I've walked a lot. I'm tired. Hopefully the audio came across okay today. My voice was trying to give out there earlier. I'm still not completely over this, but I am feeling better. Also wanted to say thanks for all the comments you guys left this week. It's greatly appreciated. With that said, that's it for today's show, but I'll see you guys back here on tomorrow's show. Until then, I thank you all for watching. You guys take care and stay safe this weekend. This is Akorn, over and out.